right, welcome to the first ever, the inaugural Coaches Show. I'm here with head football coach Jazz Bains. Jazz, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
So first off, just want to talk about last week's game, Adams State, the Colorado Classic, second longest continual rivalry in the state of Colorado. Came up just a little bit short, played well at times. Talk a little bit about the game and your thoughts.
Definitely a game we should have won. We feel we should have won. Obviously, we were up big going into halftime, with the score 42-13. I had a chance to come out in the second half and really put things away and just didn't, we played extremely well in the first half in all three phases, and then, the second half came around, we just stopped executing. They ran the same defense and offense that they had been running all day, and special teams as well, and, it's in the first half we were executing all the plays and they weren't. In the second half, they came out and did the same stuff they had shown in the first half and executed, and we did a poor job. So, ultimately we gave up 30-something points in the second half, which is obviously something that we don't want to see happen. And then, obviously our offense, struggled in the second half of, not putting points on the board. I think we had one drive where we had a chance to kick a field goal and it didn't happen. And, so just we didn't play for 4 quarters. It was that simple. And, it's frustrating. It's disappointing. Our kids were, obviously upset after the game and, took it to heart after they lost. And, it's tough, especially when you lose against Adams, your rival, and it's a big game for Western State and the alumni and our program. And so, yeah, it was a frustrating game, but, there's a lot of things that, we could have done better and played better at, and, we're hoping to do that this week, going into the game versus Chadron. But the guys played hard. They continue to play good football. We just need to play it for 4 quarters. We've had drives or quarters, or in this case, a whole half of that was, in my opinion, pretty dominating. It's probably the most dominating half we've played since I've been here, and I think, the way I looked at it, obviously it was disappointing. There's no doubt that we should have won that game. That was a game we needed to win. We won't shy away from that. I won't shy away from that, but, it's, I think that was a glimpse of what this team can be. Of playing that type of dominating football, and I think anybody watching or that was at the game or watched it on TV, got a pretty good glimpse of what Western football can be.
And a big part of your success in that first half was Austin Eckler, running back, junior running back out of Eaton, Colorado. He is leading the nation, or leading D2 in rushing yards per game, 184. Talk a little bit about what he means to the team, having him there. He's been banged up a little bit this season. He's just a big factor in this game. Tell us a little bit about Austin and having him in the lineup.
Obviously he's played in 3 games this season. He sat out against Angelo State, and the 3 games that he's played, obviously, he's performed at a really high level and continues to. He's an explosive player that any time he touches the ball, can go off, whether it's, carrying the ball or catching a pass out of the backfield. Those guys do a great job on offense of, again, winning some one-on-ones, making sure the blocking's right, and Brett does a good job of distributing the ball, and, obviously with having a dynamic player like that in the backfield, it's easy to hand the ball off to him, and, again, see him go out and just do his thing. Obviously comes into plays, the line does a good job of blocking, and receivers are blocking downfield, so, it's I don't know if he really cares how many carries he gets or doesn't get. The guy wants to win, and whatever that means. And our offense is built that way. Ryan does a great job, calling plays and doing those things. Whether we have to throw the ball a little bit more or run the ball a little bit more, obviously we want to be as balanced as we can be. But he's had an incredible year so far, and I think you'll see that continue with him on the field.
Well, with Eckler on the offensive side, you have his counterpart, Jake Bernhardt, on the defensive side. And Bernhardt's really one of those players that's just fun to watch because he just flies around the field. And even if he doesn't get credit for a tackle, he's in on the play almost every single down. He's second in the country in tackles per game. Talk a little bit about Jake and your senior captain there.
Jake, he's just relentless on defense. He finds a way to get to the ball, whether the play's in front of him or it's out on the perimeter. He just plays with that fanatical effort that we try to get every guy to play with, and he's that tough, blue-collar, hard-nosed guy. I mean, point blank. I mean, that's the way he plays. It's the only way he knows how to play, for that matter. I don't think there's a half speed to the guy. So he brings a great intensity at that position and to the defense, and he plays physical and he runs hard, always in pursuit, like you're saying. So he might not make the play, but he's darn close every time, trying to get him on the play. So, I think he's going to have a great year as well, and he sets the tone for those guys on defense. I mean, he does a great job of leading that group and plays physical with his play inside, and I think can play with anybody.
And special teams, of course, always a big factor in every RMAC game, and this year it's just it's been nice to see the special teams coming up big. A lot of block kicks so far this year, and of course with Dakota Swinehart back there punting, always gives your defense an opportunity to pin the other opponents, or pin your opponents back in their side of the field. So talk a little bit about your special teams and the philosophy this year, and how you guys are doing.
It's been a good season so far. We've had some better games and some good games, I guess. There's areas that we continue to need to improve on week in and week out, just based on what we see. Obviously having Dakota and both Ryan back as well, both all conference type performers. It's nice having a veteran group back there that does a good job, and you can count on those guys to be there when you need them. And guys have really bought in, and we've had our share of block kicks so far this season, and I think we'll probably continue that. Guys do a good job of taking ownership of the units they're on, and really go out and compete every play when they're on those units, and that's all we ask of those guys. There's no it's not you line up every time and you get to block a kick or you get a chance to block a kick. We just try to challenge for every point, and on some of those extra points and even field goals, where we've had a chance to block a few of those this year. I think that continues. Gerald Coleman's had a handful of blocks just over his career and just does a great job on that unit. And then you saw a redshirt freshman for us, Daniel Velasquez, also have one early in the season. And Jared Mendocino, he blocked one against Angelo State as well, but he got his hand on two balls at CSU Pueblo as well. They just happened to still go in. So it's nice to see those guys challenge for points and do a good job. Obviously, we want to have consistent play on those units and want to be able to change some field position at times, and hopefully continue to generate a big play every now and again on some of those units. So those guys take a lot of pride in it, and they do a good job.
All right, well, this Saturday, taking on Chadron State College, 1 o'clock in Mountaineer Bowl. It's a big game, always a big game against Chadron. They're usually near the top of the RMAC. This year they're a little down. We'll be looking for first win since 1997 against them. What does this game mean for you and the season?
It's an important game. Obviously, we're still looking for our first win, and we want to see our group go out and just play Mountaineer football. Play that tough, hard-nosed football out there for 4 quarters, and we want to finish the game. So I'm not sure if it would matter who we played against. We want to see that happen this week. Obviously, with Chadron, they play that style as well, as far as they play physical game, and they're a challenging team as well. They've had some struggles, or whatever you want to call it. They've had some tough opponents early in the season as well, but they've played well, and it'll be a challenge on Saturday, and we're looking forward to it. And I know our guys had a good week of practice and they're ready to go this week, and hopefully you'll see that on Saturday. But it'll be a physical game. They played well on defense. Offense moves the ball extremely well, especially running the ball. I think they have the skilled guys out on the perimeter to create some big plays as well. So we just got to play sound assignment football. That's what we need to do against these guys. And it's nice to be back, in Mountaineer Bowl, and I know it's a Hall of Fame game as well, and we get a chance to get the '91 football team in particular back and get them back to Gunnison and get them back in the bowl. It'll be nice to have that group back around and get a chance to show them what this group has been doing for the last few years as far as the work they've put in and how far and how close we're getting to getting Western back to where it was.
All right, great. Well, thanks a lot, Jazz, for joining us. Stay tuned next week for another edition of the Western State Coaches Show.